went from being regional political player of champions of militant Hindutva that carried their rhetoric and rage across India. He began his journalistic career with the political news magazines Blitz in 1993, in the earlier part of which Thackeray and his organization played a key role in Mumbai riots and has since worked with Indian leading newspapers such as the Indian Express, the Asian Age, Daily News and Analysis, Midday, and Mumbai Mirror, apart from writing for a host of other publications. His first book, The Sena Story, was published in 1999 when he was only 23. His second book, Sachin Tendulkar, a definitive biography, and is now its fifth edition. He is currently senior editor with the Times of India, Mumbai. His latest book is Savarkar, the True Story of Father of Hindutva. Ms. Yogita Chaudhary will be moderating this session for us. Ms. Yogita Chaudhary, working for Chitnavis Center as a program coordinator, plan, organizing, and manage all the cultural events for Chitnavis Center. Hanging this session over to you, sir.
नमस्कार. आपणा सर्वांचं स्वागत आहे ऑरेंज सिटी लिटरेचर फेस्टिवलच्या शेवटच्या दिवशी. आणि वैभव सर आपलं सुद्धा एकदा पुन्हा स्वागत करते. वैभव सरांचं अक्षरधन खूप समृद्ध आहे. त्यांनी लिहिलेल्या पुस्तकांमध्ये सचिन तेंडुलकर, बाळासाहेब ठाकरे, द सेना स्टोरी, सावरकर इत्यादींचा समावेश आहे. सर, तुमच्या लिखाणात एकीकडे सचिन तेंडुलकर दिसतो तर दुसरीकडे सावरकर आहेत. तर हा असा तुमचा लिखाणाचा जो कॅनव्हास आहे हा बराच चिंतनशील आणि मोठा दिसतो. तर यावर काही बोलाल?
मी मुंबईत जन्माला आलो आणि वाढलो आणि आय ऑलवेज हॅड अन इंटरेस्ट इन पब्लिक अफेअर्स. म्हणजे समाजात काय चाललं आहे, जगात काय चाललं आहे. त्याचप्रमाणे क्रिकेट आपल्या सगळ्यांचाच आवडता खेळ असल्यामुळे त्यामध्ये रुची होतीच. आणि थोड्याफार प्रमाणात खेळलो, जास्त नाही खेळलो पण थोड्याफार प्रमाणात खेळलो. तो खेळलो तेव्हा तोच काळ होता जेव्हा तेंडुलकर, विनोद कांबळी, संजय मांजरेकर, दिलीप वेंगसरकर, राजू कुलकर्णी एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा शिवाजी पार्कला खेळायचे. आणि ते आय वॉज विटनेस टू देअर ग्रोईंग अप इयर्स. त्यामुळे there was something I saw there which I thought had not been written about earlier. And I thought that the roots of this cricketing culture have to be written about. त्यामुळे ते पुस्तक लिहिलं. आणि समाजाबद्दल, एकंदरच जगाबद्दल, राजकारणाबद्दल रस असल्यामुळे आणि मी पत्रकारितेत शिरल्यामुळे लवकरच म्हणजे म्हणजे माझी डिग्री झाल्यानंतर आय रोट ऑन पॉलिटिकल टॉपिक्स एज वेल. आणि आय एम स्टील रायटिंग ऑन पॉलिटिकल टॉपिक्स.
ओके. आजची चर्चा प्रामुख्याने सावरकरांवर केंद्रित आहे. सरांनी सावरकर, द ट्रू स्टोरी ऑफ फादर ऑफ हिंदुत्व हे पुस्तक लिहिलेलं आहे. आणि या सावरकर अँड कॉन्ट्रोवर्सी, आर दे इनसेपरेबल, या विषयावर आज आपण इथे चर्चा करणार आहोत. तर मी तुम्हाला विचारू इच्छिते की सावरकरांची हिंदुत्वाची संकल्पना तुम्ही कशी मांडाल?
Many people will be surprised to know that Savarkar started out, मी इंग्लिशमध्ये बोललो तर हरकत नाही, थोडं मी मराठी मिश्रित इंग्लिश आणि इंग्लिश मिश्रित मराठी बोली ना, त्यामुळे माफी मागतो आधीच.
मला वाटतं गरजही तशी आहे,
अच्छा,
कारण
हरकत
मिक्स
नाही.
क्राऊड आहे आपल्यामध्ये आज.
थँक्यू. तर many people don't know that Savarkar started out as an advocate of Hindu-Muslim unity, and his book on 1857, on the revolt of 1857, which he wrote during his tumultuous 5 years in London between 1906 and 1910, was all about how Hindus and Muslims had got together to launch the first Indian War of Independence. After that, what happened is that he's arrested for the killing of, in 2 cases. And he's sent to Kalapani, or the Andaman's Port Blair jail as we know. And he spends 10 years there, from 1911 to 1921. So roughly halfway through his life, from his mid-20s to his mid-30s, he goes through a very radical intellectual and ideological change. That change is personal for him, and it is political also for him. How is it personal? It is personal because when he is in the Andamans, he writes that, he saw that most of the warders in the jail who were given the responsibility of looking after the inmates, especially the political inmates, the jail officials, were Muslims. They were appointed by the British from among the prisoners themselves. म्हणजे जे कैदी होते तेच सुपरवायझर होते, पॉलिटिकल जे प्रिझनर्स होते त्यांचे. आणि ही एक्सपिरियन्स्ड दॅट most of them, he said, were fanatical, and they were into converting people inside the prison. Now, a lot of people may say that this is Savarkar's version, it may not be true. How do we believe it? But other people like Barindra Kumar Ghosh, Aurobindo Ghosh, we have all heard of the revolutionary Aurobindo Ghosh. His brother was there, and he has written similar things. For instance, there was a jailer called Khoedat Khan. He was the most fanatical, and he was known as a Namazi in the jail. And he used to torture people, convert people. So people used to go to him and say that, oh, you are such a great religious man. And people used to go to him and say that I am soon going to convert to Islam because, because I like it. So then they would get lenient treatment from him. Others also complained in this manner, and Savarkar was much hurt by the fact that these conversions were happening in the jail, torture was happening in the jail, physical abuse, violence was happening in the jail, and the harshest punishments were being meted out to the political prisoners. So, slowly he developed feelings against Islam, in the jail, because he felt that there were systematic conversions happening, and he was upset that the Hindus were not reacting to it. And what used to happen is, he has mentioned an example that, they used to, after conversion, they used to ensure that somebody ate cow meat, so that the Hindus cannot take him back. But you are polluted, Ata, you cannot come back to our religion. Which is why Savarkar said that, no, we have to take them back. So get rid of these stupid ideas that you cannot reconvert. We have also got to start doing that, and he was upset. So slowly he becomes more and more anti-Islam and anti-Muslim also, and develops this theory of Hindutva. This is the personal reason. The political reason is, in the with the Minto Morley reforms, and later the Montagu-Kempsford reforms, Minto Morley reforms in 1909, separate electorates are introduced for Muslims, which gives the Muslim vote greater power than the general category vote, which is the Hindu vote. He does not like this, and in 1920-21, when Gandhi links the Khilafat movement to India's freedom movement, Savarkar objects to it, saying that why are you linking a transnational pan-Islamic movement to India's freedom movement? What is the link with it? Very interestingly, Muhammad Ali Jinnah also opposes this movement within the Congress and says that why is Gandhi doing this? What has religion got to do with it? We should fight for freedom, but don't get into this political Islam thing. So because of these two reasons, and then there is the Mopla uprising in Malabar district in Kerala, where there is a massacre of Hindus, and the people who kill them, they proclaim jihad, and they say they are Khilafatists. Now Turkey itself didn't want the Khilafat, and Mustafa Kemal abolished it eventually. So Savarkar gets upset personally because of whatever the experiences are and what he sees in Andaman jail, and politically because of what is happening in the external environment. And he forms a theory of Hindutva which says that Hindutva is not the same as Hinduism. We are often told that it is not the same as Hinduism, but Savarkar himself has made it clear that it is not the same as Hinduism. He says that the Indian nation is based on the unifying Hinduness of its people. He defines a Hindu who forms the basis of the Indian nation as somebody who considers India or Hindustan as its Pitrubhu and Punyabhu. So Pitrubhu, fatherland, and Punyabhu is holy land. Now he says that for Hindus, obviously this is the holy land. But he says that Muslims and Christians, many of them are patriotic, they are nationalists, they love this country. But their holy land is outside India, in Arabia or in Palestine. So when it comes to choosing between their faith and India, suppose they are asked to make a choice, they will always choose their holy land. And he said, I am not condemning them, I am just stating a matter of fact, that this is what it will happen. But by doing that, he excludes a certain category of people altogether from what he says is the unifying Hinduness of its people. So he says, if these people, then he again makes a distinction. He says the Khojas and the Bohras, they are patriotic, they are very patriotic. The others are a problem. Then he says that in the Andamans, the Baluchis, the Pathans and the Sindhis, they were very fanatical. But the Marathi Muslims, the Tamil Muslims and the Bengali Muslims, they are not so fanatical. They are all right. So, it's a very complicated theory that he forms, but what he does is he excludes a certain section. But this is how he comes to the conclusion that, this will have to be the basis of the Indian nation, that you will have to declare and you will have to reconvert. So he tells the Bohras and the Khojas that come back into the Hindu fold because we are a common race and all of you have in any case been converted. So your forefathers were all, belong to the Hindu faith. So come back and then, you will be part of the nation. Yeah. So असं सगळं आहे ते म्हणजे
तर म्हणजे हिंदुत्वाची जी काही संकल्पना त्यांनी मांडली त्याचे रूट्स असे पर्सनल आणि पॉलिटिकल असे इकडनं आले. तर बरंच क्लिअर झालं कॉन्सेप्ट या तुमच्या. हे इतकं प्रखर व्यक्तिमत्व सावरकरांचं, तर असं ऐकण्यात आहे की अंदमानात असताना त्यांनी तत्कालीन सरकारला काही पिटिशन दिलं होतं. तर त्याचा तत्कालीन संदर्भ आणि अर्थ यावर थोडा प्रकाश टाका.
तर सावरकरांवर बरीच टीका होते फॉर हॅव्हिंग रिटन what are known as mercy petitions to the British. आणि for that reason he has even been called a traitor, and Rahul Gandhi made a comment in a public statement that when Gandhi and Nehru were sleeping on the dirt floor of a jail, Savarkar was writing apology letters to the British. Did he write mercy petitions to the British? Very interestingly, a few years ago I read in an English news magazine that Savarkar had written mercy petitions to the British, and the writer of that article said that I am bringing this to light, that Savarkar tried to hide it all his life. But if you read, and I'm sure all of you read English, Marathi, Hindi, multiple languages, if you read Maji Janma Tape, his book on his years in the Andamans, he himself mentions that he wrote those petitions. So he's not denying it at all. And there is no discovery that has happened that, somebody has discovered and he tried to hide it. No, त्याला काही संदर्भ आहे त्या पेटिशन्सना. अंदमानमध्ये अनन्वित छळ करण्यात आला भारतीय लोकांचा आणि एस्पेशली ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल प्रिझनर्स. They were tortured in the most abominable and medieval ways. I will give you 2 examples. So one is, see, we all know about the oil press, Kolu, all of that. But Savarkar, for 2 consecutive days, was given something known as standing fetters. I mean, standing fetters means what? That you stand, your both hands are tied, and you have chains there. You are chained there, fetters there, locked. You are made to stand against the wall. The fetter is chained to the wall, and you just stand there. Your legs are also, they have fetters there. And you stand like that for 8 hours a day. If you want to go to the toilet, you cannot go. You just have to be like that. So it is a very humiliating thing, and they did it to a lot of political prisoners, and they used to soil themselves, because you have your natural, nature's call to respond to. So you have to stand in that filth all day if you pass urine or, pass through. So it is the worst possible kind of humiliation. That happened to him twice for not cooperating with the British authorities. Second, he was given iron bar fetters. Iron bar fetters means all day, crossbar, iron crossbar. So these are crossbar fetters. So this is like a triangular thing. It's a bar, vertical bar, and then there is a horizontal bar. And you are chained, and there is a big chain. So you cannot bend, and you just have to stand like that with your chained. And because you can't bend your back for the entire day, it becomes unbearable. Okay. So this was the kind of torture that he underwent. Number 1. Number 2 is that a lot of people say that, oh, so what if you were tortured? If you loved your country, you should have done that. It's very easy for us to say this here, because how many of us will even take a lathi charge? I don't know. Even one lathi is good enough, I think, at least for me. But, okay. So he did write those petitions under conditions of torture. Number 1 is, I think it is unfair and unwarranted to call somebody names because he wrote petitions for release under conditions of torture. Current testaments given under torture cannot be looked at as the genuine opinion of the person giving the testament. Number 2 is that he had come to the conclusion, Savarkar had come to the conclusion that, see, we must remember during 1911 and 1921, no news from the Andamans reached the Indian mainland. There were no newspapers there, nothing happened. So Savarkar had an argument with his fellow prisoners because a lot of them considered him their leader. Even Barindra Kumar Ghosh did. All the Bengali revolutionaries, they looked up to him. All these Anushilan Samiti and other leaders. And his argument was, let's write these letters, send them to the British, and let's get the hell out of here. Then we'll go to India and try and do something we can. If we die here just like that, and eventually we'll die, because the food is substandard, we are tortured, there is a lot of punishment, and we'll be useless, we'll die like mosquitoes. Don't die in vain. Let's go out, do something. We may have limitations to doing things, but still we'll lead a useful life for our society. So let's lead a useful life. That was one of the reasonings. But even if we don't believe that reasoning, let us assume that, maybe he was broken. Let us assume by the torture and he wrote that. And that maybe reasoning. So when Nani Gopal, one of the Bengali prisoners, went on a hunger strike, Savarkar for 3 days tried to convince him, don't go on a hunger strike, don't die here, because it's a waste. He didn't believe in hunger strikes, because he said that you're just wasting your life. What is the point? You stay alive and fight it out. So don't do it. But Nani Gopal eventually, died in prison after 60 days of fasting. And we are not even taught about these things in our history books, you know. The saddest thing is. So that was one argument, but let us assume we are not believing this argument. Now, see, when people say mercy petitions, in 1908, when Khudiram Bose hurled the first bomb and, you know, killed some English women, 2 English women, and he wanted to kill an English official, but he killed 2 women by mistake, English women. And he and Satyendranath Bose and others were arrested in the case. Now, Satyendranath Bose and others in that case wrote mercy petitions to the court saying, ki, don't hang us, please release us. We are sorry for what we have done. We are asking for clemency. And we are... Time is over.
Okay, we'll take next 10 minutes, please.
We finished half an hour. We have back-to-back sessions. But we started late at 1:35.
Yeah,
then why have a session? No, I mean, you're not, you give me 15 minutes.
The session was
No, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean it against you.
This session was for half an hour, so we have
so
5 minutes left.
Yeah, we started at 1:35, so we have 5 minutes left. So what I'm saying is, Satyendranath Bose wrote a mercy petition, but we don't call him a coward or a traitor. In the 1920s, in the mid-1920s, when Ram Prasad Bismil, Sachindranath Sanyal, and the others attacked a government train in the United Provinces and they were going to be hanged, they also wrote mercy petitions saying, please release us. But fortunately, we don't call them cowards. We treat them as national heroes. So it is unfair. You can criticize Savarkar for other things if you want. Hindutva, maybe you may not agree, I may not agree with some definition of Hindutva that he had. And in fact, the RSS later made the definition of Hindutva milder because, you know, he was straight away excluding some people, you know. But Hedgewar, of course, was inspired by him. But this is, so it's not fair to say coward and all that. We have to take things in context.
Right. So as we are running out of time, let's quickly cover some of the rest of the questions. Yeah. So the Quit India movement and Hindu Mahasabha's role and Savarkar's perspective. So what do you have to say about this?
Again, I think, you know, we have only one view of Indian history. Indians were not a monolithic, united force at the time of the Quit India movement. And people who opposed the Quit India movement were not traitors. You know, it is a very Congress-centric view to think that they were traitors. You know, the Congress, of course, was leading the national movement, and it was a great movement, no question about it. But Ambedkar opposed the Quit India movement. The All India Liberals Federation opposed the Quit India movement. The many Kisan Sabhas set up in India with the blessings of Jawaharlal Nehru opposed the Quit India movement and did not participate in it. Nehru himself was in favor of supporting the British war effort. He agreed to join the Quit India movement at the last moment because Gandhi was, you know, insistent and Gandhi was his leader. So he followed it, but his heart was not into it. There were 3-4 reasons for it, quickly if I can mention. One is that, see, the war was going on and the Japanese were on India's borders. So Savarkar's argument was, you can't say quit India but leave your army here so that the Japanese don't come in. Second, he said, if we quit, who comes here? You know, this will be a vacuum and we'll have civil war here. So what is the arrangement between the different communities in India, in a post-British India that we will have? What is the constitutional framework? What about separate electorates? What about voting rights? Only the landed and the propertied had voting rights at that time. So all these decisions must first be taken before we just say quit India. And the war is on, this is not the right time. So most of the arguments of those who opposed Quit India were related to the question of the timing of the movement. Whether the fact that the British should quit India, everybody wanted that to happen. But the timing was what people differed over, which is why he said, quit India. You know, this is not the right time. Wait.
So सावरकर गांधी हे कायम विरोधक होते का, किंवा सावरकर आंबेडकर हे जातीयतेला विरोध करत होते, तर त्यांचं काय?
Okay, I'll take 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank
So,
you,
I mean,
thank you.
we've been given 5 minutes. Sorry. Thank you. Huh?
Thank
Oh,
you
sorry.
so
I'm
much.
sorry and apologies to the next speaker also, but not my fault.
तर सावरकर गांधी आणि सावरकर आंबेडकर यांच्या समविचारांवर किंवा विचारांच्या फरकावर काय प्रकाश टाकता?
सावरकर आणि गांधी यांची पहिली भेट 1909 साली झाली, जेव्हा सावरकर इंग्लंडमध्ये होते. लंडनमध्ये त्यांची भेट झाली आणि लंडनमध्ये जे भारतीय लोक राहायचे त्यांचा एक डिनर ठेवला होता एका ठिकाणी, आणि तिथे सावरकर आणि गांधींना बोलवण्यासाठी बोलवण्यात आलं त्या लोकांशी सगळ्यांशी संवाद साधण्यासाठी. आणि सावरकर तेव्हा he was a leader of a group of patriotic and young Indians in London at India House. आणि निरंजन पाल, Bipin Chandra Pal's son, others, many others, Asaf Ali, they were all his followers. And Gandhi knew this. So Gandhi, when he spoke before Savarkar at that function, and Gandhi gets up and says that we have a big patriot with us here, and he's going to speak. So he pays a big tribute to Savarkar by saying that he makes a very short speech and he says that, okay, I am not going to stand between the crowd and Mr. Savarkar, whom you have come to hear. You have not come to hear me, you've come to hear Savarkar. So they had mutual respect. This respect continued when Savarkar was interned in Ratnagiri. जेव्हा ते स्थानबद्धतेत होते तेव्हा गांधी त्यांना जाऊन भेटून आले त्यांच्या घरी, तिथे त्या घरात राहत होते तेव्हा तिथे, आणि त्यांचा अर्धा तास संवाद झाला. आणि Gandhi also complimented his wife, saying this woman has suffered so much because the husband was in jail for so many years, 14 years at a stretch. आणि I salute this woman. पण त्यांचे हिंदुत्वावर फार प्रखर मतभेद झाले. त्यानंतर आणि खिलाफत नंतर सावरकर म्हणजे गांधींवर तुटूनच पडले. म्हणजे आणि त्यांना ते चरखा वगैरे आवडत नव्हतं आणि अहिंसेच्या विरोधात होते. म्हणजे ते उदाहरण द्यायचं म्हणजे ते नॉन कोऑपरेशनच्या वेळेला 2 लोक अंदमानला पाठवण्यात आले जे नॉन कोऑपरेशन मध्ये मुवमेंटमध्ये पार्टिसिपेट करत होते. तर सावरकर म्हणाले की अरे तुम्ही जेव्हा ते आधी लपून होते, कुठेतरी क्रांतिकारी होते, लपून होते, पण ते सरेंडर्ड, कन्व्हिन्स्ड बाय गांधी की नाही आपण सत्य बोलायला पाहिजे, तर वी शुड सरेंडर, आपण काहीतरी केलंय भाऊ. तर सावरकर म्हणाले अरे तुम्ही जेव्हा लपून होता ॲट दॅट टाइम यू आर नॉट कोऑपरेटिंग, नॉन कोऑपरेटिव्ह विथ द ब्रिटिश गव्हर्नमेंट, बट वेन यू सरेंडर्ड यू ॲक्च्युअली कोऑपरेटेड विथ द ब्रिटिश गव्हर्नमेंट. वाय डिड यू डू दिस? सो डोंट टेक थिंग्स ॲट फेस व्हॅल्यू. आणि ही फेल्ट मोर अँड मोर, एस्पेशली आफ्टर स्वामी श्रद्धानंद वॉज किल्ड इन द 1920s आणि मोपलाज मसाकर तेव्हा झालं, तेव्हा गांधी सेड दॅट द मोपलाज आर ब्रेव, गॉड फिअरिंग brothers. So he was extremely upset and he said, how can you say these things? And they are fanatics. And then Swami Shraddhanand was killed by a fanatic and he said, वो तो मेरा भाई है. Gandhi said, वो मेरा भाई है. And then खूपच विरोध वाढला आणि त्यानंतर म्हणजे गांधी completely swept the whole country because he was hugely popular. And Savarkar tried to be the ideological opponent of Gandhi in the freedom struggle. But he did not succeed to a great extent as a Hindu Mahasabha leader, because Gandhi had the masses with him. And Savarkar was a curious kind of person in the sense that while he spoke of uniting Hindus in the name of Hindutva, he also attacked Hinduism's rituals and superstitions. So, then it gets difficult to get mass following. Whereas Gandhi was speaking about Ram Rajya and all that. So Gandhi got, आणि तो विरोध वाढतच गेला. आणि त्यानंतर म्हणजे ॲक्च्युली सावरकर, आय मीन टू बी फेअर टू गांधी, सावरकर एनकरेज गोडसे अँड अदर्स ऑल्सो अ लॉट ड्युरिंग द 1940s. सो तसंही झालं तर तो विरोध फारच राहिला. आणि कस्तुरबा गांधी गेल्यानंतर कस्तुरबा गांधींच्या नावाने एक फंड निर्माण करण्यात आला. तर त्यासाठी पैसे द्या असं एक अपील जनरली करण्यात आलं. तर सावरकर तेव्हा म्हणाले की एकही पैसा देऊ नका कारण हे मिसयूज करतील ह्या पैशाला. तर त्यावेळेला गांधी ऑल्सो गॉट अपसेट आणि तेव्हा त्यांचे द रिलेशन्स कम्प्लिटली एंडेड देअर. दिस वॉज इन आय थिंक 1944 इफ आय एम नॉट मिस्टेकन. सो दॅट वॉज दी एंड अँड देन वी नो व्हॉट हॅपन्ड.
अच्छा. आणि सावरकर आंबेडकर
Savarkar, Ambedkar, very interesting, quickly. Savarkar and Ambedkar had similar views on caste. Both wanted caste to be eliminated. Savarkar saw it as an obstruction to Hindu unity, but he was a genuine social reformer like Ambedkar. But Ambedkar had no interest in Hindu unity. Savarkar's opposition to caste took him in the direction of Hindu unity and Hindutva, and Ambedkar's opposition to caste took him outside the realm of Hinduism altogether, took him in the direction of Buddhism. So they traveled in very different directions, but they felt similarly. They were both very highly critical of political Islam. So if you must all read, all the youngsters here must read Ambedkar's book Partition or Pakistan or the Partition of India. Very, very strong views. You see, if you read Savarkar's views on Hindu rituals, you will feel that Narendra Dabholkar was a very mild person, and he was in fact mild. And if you read Ambedkar on Islam and political Islam, you will feel that some of the Hindutvawadis are mild. So, it's a very complicated thing.
अच्छा. तर मला वाटतं आजच्या या सेशनमध्ये वेळेचा जरी अभाव आपल्याकडे होता तरी सुद्धा खूपशा गोष्टींवर सरांनी प्रकाश टाकला आणि बरेच कॉन्सेप्ट्स आपले क्लिअर झाले. थँक्यू सो मच.
Thank you. And my apologies to these two people, because they were only doing their work. So I'm extremely sorry. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you to the audience for being with us today. Thank you.